Hi, I'm Leanne Ely. I'm a nutritionist, a New York Times best-selling author, and some people even say I'm a life coach. I started the Daily Dish Show to share my story, my truth, and my journey to vibrancy, and to inspire others to do the same. Because it's all about grit, perseverance, and finding a way despite the odds. It's about embracing the whole woman, not just the parts that are easy to love, and feeding her heart, mind, body, and soul. But I found that this isn't just my story, it's your story too. It's go time. This is the Daily Dish. It is the Daily Dish. Hello. Hi, Sandy, Jocelyn, already in the house. Good to have you here. I am excited for today. Are you? I hope so. Flynn is in the house. Alice is here. Chris is here. And there's our girl, Nancy. Say hello, Mother Hen. Cheers. Here is to just a delightful Monday. I think we are going to get all into and all up about motivation today. I think it's a really good thing to start talking about. What do you think? Lisa, hello. I'm glad you're here. And there's our girl, Darla and Ellen. Lizzie, good to have you here. Here's to all of y'all getting on your hot melt mix. Mine is not yet in my bottle. Come on. What happened there? I'll go get it fixed later. So I've already done my workout. I'm just letting you know, I am staying true to my word and getting it done before the show. That makes me feel so much better. It makes me feel like I can show up fully for you too, because that was one of my things. So I did that this morning. I had my quiet time this morning. Who is still continuing with that habit? Having your morning ritual. Who's still doing that? Having your meditation, having your journaling time, having your reading time. Have you noticed how much more finely tuned you are into your whole life? Isn't it interesting? You know, we fuel our lives in different ways. We fuel it heart, mind, body, soul. There's no other way to look at it. It is the absolute truth. You cannot skip one part. You just can't, because we respond fully and synergistically. We are not just a pair of jeans or a tube of lipstick or what we look like or what other people think about or any of it. We are in totality the uniqueness that we are in this little bodysuit of ours. We are 100%. And when we exercise that all the way and we understand who the heck we are and whose we are and how we're here on purpose and for purpose, things start to shift, don't they? And they can start to shift dramatically when we turn up the gas. It's so true. But she says my meditation in the evening is for a wrap up. I do the same thing, Sandy. What I do is I put my phone under my pillow and I listen to Ross Rayburn on Peloton. Puts me to sleep every night. Mark says there's always another man in our bed. But you know, what can I say? I love Ross, and there's something about his voice that just makes me go, I'm out. So I do 2 meditations a day. Usually I don't make it through the second one. It's cool, right? It's cool. So we're going to be talking today about motivation and about listening to ourselves and hearing what it is that's actually coming out of our mouths. It is an important thing because sometimes we aren't aware of what we're saying, and that's an important aspect and an important part of what we need to do. I've got a couple of things for you. Did you get your text this morning? I got mine. Wasn't that the cutest thing? If you're not getting your text, come on. What are you waiting for? We have text messages. And as a matter of fact, if you want the text message phone number so you can get signed up, so you can get the best deals and be the first in the know, if you go to savingdinner.com/announcements, Jenny makes a page for us every single week with all of the announcements on that page. And you text the word join, JOIN, all in caps, to 855-960-3720. And there you go. That's how this whole kit and caboodle works. And then we send you back a message. You need to confirm it. You know the drill. But the reason I'm telling you this is because this is one of the ways that you can stay in touch with us, and we give you the best screaming deals on that. And you can see some of our wonderful Amber's handiwork at play because she always does a really cute graphic and what have you. That's all. And this today, what we were telling you about is we have a deal on a bunch of holiday stuff that we have put together. I mean, so many things, so many things. This is $147 worth of value for only $27. You can find it at savingdinner.com/show. Now, it's all downloadable, and it's going to make your holidays that much better. We've got the 12 days of cookies. So we've got some really good a couple of those. Some holiday mailers, things you can make and send your family, and more. You'll just have to go there and go check it out. But it is all downloadable, easy peasy, and you can make some really darling things and get them in the mail, and your family will be delighted. Of course they will. Of course they will. So don't forget, savingdinner.com/show. Also, we have Christmas menus available. Of course we do. savingdinner.com/Christmas. Of course, everything's there. Everything that you need. Brendan Burchard, one of I would say he's one of my heroes, really, because he really helped me with my mindset piece when I was working on that in the early 2000s. And he really wiggled the inside of my brain and made me recognize and realize immediately that if I don't have my mind tuned in, if my mindset is wobbling all over the place, so am I. So's my life. And he was one of the ones who made me recognize that and realize that. And one of the things that he said is that what we are capable of is remarkable, and what we'll attempt is only constrained by our beliefs. And it's true. If we see ourselves in a little box, in a corner, unable, incapable, then we will perform that way throughout our lives. Unable, incapable, you name it, however it is. But the point is what that we see about ourselves and believe about ourselves is what we are going to reap, unfortunately. So make sure the things that you're thinking about are really beautiful things. Because remember, you are here on purpose and for purpose, uniquely, fearfully, and wonderfully made by the Creator himself for such a time as this, right? That's our perspective. If we stand in that truth, then we can start figuring the other stuff out. What about getting motivated today? Who wants to get motivated for the week? I certainly do. Let's talk about this. I have a kind of a motivational manifesto for you today. And that is, can you hear yourself? I'm asking you a question. Can you hear yourself? This is something that you might want to write in your journal. I'm going to give you all kinds of stuff to write in your journal. When I give you these little nuggets, if you hear a nugget, throw it in your journal and discuss it with yourself. You know, if something triggers something, that's a good thing, because we need to be aware of what all of that is. And when we hear ourselves, do we realize that we're always on, that our voice is always speaking to us in some way or another? When we're in a place of overwhelm, there's a lack of focus, and that's because there's too many voices. There's too many things that we're hearing. There's too much going on. And what we think about is our focus. And if we can't focus because of this so-called overwhelm, then we just have to clear the decks and say, forget about it. I want to focus on this one thing. This is why multitasking is such a problem and why we're not really good at it. I always say that the best thing for multitasking is getting all your machinery running in your house. Get your washer, your dryer, your dishwasher, and your crock pot and toaster oven all going at the same time. Those mechanisms are all very, very capable to multitask. For us human beings, women in these little bodysuits of ours, we need to do one thing at a time if we're going to do it well, right? So sometimes we'll find ourselves in this overwhelm of making declarative statements about ourselves that simply aren't true. We'll make blanket statements about ourselves that, again, put us in the corner, put us in a place where we're just not going to become and live fully to the place that we need to live. And I forgot all about turning on. I'll just do it right bring it on TikTok. So sometimes we'll say, I'm so overwhelmed. I can't possibly. I want donuts or I don't want to. And we start filling up our lives and these thoughts with all the things that we think that we can't do and all the things that we think that we are, which for the most part aren't necessarily correct. So we have to pay attention to our thinking. We have to think about our thinking. We have to be brought into this place called awareness. Awareness. It's just that simple. So if we start thinking about our thinking, we start thinking about, am I thinking about what it is that I want? Or specifically, what do I want? Because oftentimes we find ourselves in this place of not knowing at all what we want. We just know that we don't want what we have currently. Have we thought about what it is that we want? And I know this might sound really dumb, but it is so imperative. It is imperative to know what it is that you want so that you have the ability to focus and to go after it. That's what that's all about. And number two is you got to focus on the present. You got to get into the now voice. One of the problems that we have is that we end up living in the place of either yesterday or worrying about the future. And if we can get to the place of understanding that our now voice is the voice that is going to lead us into the present and get us into the place of what it is that we want, creating our actual future and our present, then we're going to find ourselves in a much, much better place and enjoying our lives, by the way. Because when we live in the past and we're actually just looking to the future continually, we don't get the joy of today. And we miss out on the joy of today. So think about the present. What do you want it to be? What do you want it to look like? Can you set your day up for that? I'm asking that question because every single morning when I get up, one of the things that I say, show me how great today can be. You know, I'm asking God for that. Why not? He put me here, right? If I'm going to do the best with what I've got, why not ask God for all the rest? And then I have to decide, how do I want to show up? Do I want to show up with my fullest self? Do I want to show up just giving it in half-assery? Or do I want to go fully into that? Because this is how you define yourself. When you are giving it just an attempt on giving your best, you're not going to get back anything in return. You know, we always have feedback coming back to us. And how we feel about the way we perform and the way we do things is a direct reflection with what's going on the inside. So we can reconfigure that. We can decide, I'm going to give it my very best shot. And if we can get off this idea that we need to do it perfectly and instead move to the place of excellence, we're going to find ourselves feeling a whole lot better about ourselves, because there is no perfect this side of glory. Remember that. Not going to happen. So it's not about you showing up and being perfect. It's about you showing up and being excellent and giving it your best effort, right? T. Brown says, what is the true meaning of life if I feel so lost? I think the true meaning for life is showing up for yourself, right? Because I think if we go back to this, T. Brown, I think at the very end of the day, we have to recognize and realize at the very base that we are here on purpose and for purpose. And if that's the case, then we were called into this life right now today. And if that's the case, then how can I show up in the very best light and do my very best work to find what my purpose is? We find our purpose by searching for it. We find our purpose by looking at the clues. We find our purpose by making a decision that life is good at all times. That's how I feel. That's what I think is the most important thing that we can do, is show up and just make a decision that this is what we need to do. The other thing that we need to do is, number 3, we need to put this into practice. Because when we start putting into practice a daily thought pattern, a daily presence, a daily I'm here, a daily mindfulness, we can start recognizing that something is coming into play and putting, a monkey wrench into the whole formula. Have you ever noticed that? So here's what I'm talking about. Sometimes we need to relentlessly journal because it is the best, absolutely the very best uh, counselor that you can have is yourself, because you can figure out and see patterns that are showing up in your journal. I know a lot of people, and people tell me this all the time. I just don't know what to journal about. I just whatever. But yet we get stuck in these thought processes and these thought patterns that no longer serve, that don't have any benefit, and every day is starting to look the same. That's when we need to take a look at our life and our meaning and feeling so lost. Are we doing everything the same every single day? Is that serving us anymore? Or is that just keeping us in the same place? Are you liking what you're getting every single day? I saw a great quote this weekend, and I wrote it down in my journal. And the life you want is on the other side of discomfort. The life you want is on the other side of discomfort. In other words, it's not going to be fun, y'all. It's not going to be fun, but the struggle is real. The struggle is real. If you want something different, then you're going to have to do something different. If you want it, if you want to really get down to the brass tacks of what's the heck is going on, what is holding you back from the life that you want, then you got to start doing something different. If you've been, a one-man show and you just stay away from everyone, check in with your community and see if that community difference doesn't make a difference, right? That's one thing. And then the other thing is daily journal, daily meditate, daily breath work, daily, daily, daily. This is how we get dialed in to who we are and the truth of who we are. Because you're way more than you think, than you know. That's for sure. Number two is that as you start to check in with yourself a little bit, you will recognize and realize that you've been called for such a time like this. You just haven't found it yet. We start to look for things and we start to expect that the answers will show up. They always do. Without question, they always do. Number four is you've got to remove the negativity. It's there, y'all. If you don't believe me, turn on any news channel and you can watch some heavy stuff that will make you feel depressed. But what we need to do, you know what the news basically does? They say, here's the problems. These people are the problems. This is the problem. They don't offer solutions. And what I say to you is, instead of us tuning into somebody else's negativity, why don't we tune into our own stuff and just say, hey, how do I become solution oriented instead of always focusing on the problem, right? I will tell you, when we stop focusing on, I'll give you an example, stop focusing on having a diet and instead focusing on being healthy and feeling better, that's when things start to shift and start to change. It's that simple. You start feeling better in your own skin. You just do. It's easy. It's easy because that's what we are supposed to be doing, is looking at that. And it's, instead of beating ourselves up, we need to be looking at the solution in front of us, because there's always a solution. Everything is always figure outable. Everything always is. And it's never not been, It might be painful. It might be hard. It might be rough. It might not be fun, but it is always figure outable. Number five is analyze, but don't get paralyzed. So in other words, I believe that when we have the guts to look at ourselves and to look at what's going on, we can start to see, aha, this is working and this is not. And when we do this, it's not so that we can beat ourselves up over the stuff that we're doing wrong, right? Not that at all. You know what it is? It's so that we can say, aha, I've been doing this for years and years and years and years, and it's never worked. Let's get rid of this and try this instead. That's being analytical. It's not beating yourself up. There is no moral judgment on being analytical. You don't have to do that. You don't have to attach anything to it. You just merely need to call it out so you can replace it with something else. And that's not to say that you can't be emotional. You can't have something else going on inside. I mean, we all do. But When we understand that we don't need to be constrained by what we think is the the paralysis of this analysis of what's going on in our lives, then we can move past it and we become very solution oriented and we become much wiser and we move the needle. That's how that whole thing works. We get consistent. We get consistent too, because we're starting to see the things that work. I love that. Number 6, this is one of my best things for you, right? When you're trying to do this, I want you to start telling your own story. You get to tell the story, not somebody else. You get to tell the story. And when you tell the story, you tell the story in a way that will support the life that you want to lead. I'll give you an example. Boy, do I want an Oreo. All I can think about is Oreos. You know, Oreos are really good. I like the double stuffed ones. I like the ones with the green icing. I like all of them. I like the Oreos. Talking about incessantly about the Oreos. Or if we're focused on the one thing, that's your mouth. Or how about instead focus on the thing that you don't want? How do they make you feel? How do Oreos make you feel? If they make you feel gross, then that's your focus. You have moved beyond the problem into the solution. And the solution is that they don't serve you. The solution is they make you feel bad. The solution is that they're taking away from your health. The solution is right in front of you. But most of us don't move out of this, boy, do I want this? Do I want that? We want to be able to have the things in our lives that we want, but we can't have our cake and eat it too. We just can't. There's no such thing as that. It doesn't work. So we have to understand that what we want is on the other side of discomfort, period. So getting past that Oreo thing, well, you can do the L-glutamine trick. I've shown 1 million people how to do that. More than 1 million, I would say. We'd show you how to do that. But the thing that we need to do is we need to keep our eyes focused on the prize. What do you want? What do you want? Add another step to this whole thing and then start thinking about when you get really hyper focused on something, especially if you're battling through cravings. The psychological part is, I hate waking up feeling guilty. I hate waking up feeling puffy, pain-ridden, hungover, bloated. I hate the way I feel when blah, blah, blah. When we do that, it's not that you hate yourself. It's there's certain feelings that you don't like. There's certain things that make you feel sick. There's certain things that make you feel bad. There's certain things that bring pain on into your body. Those are the things that we focus on so that we can get past this whole thing of what's going on in your mouth. Does that make sense? So what we're talking about is logic over emotion. That's what corrects all of this stuff, by the way. It corrects it all. And we have a tendency to back away from that. We don't want to go there. We want to make it too hard. So our alignment assignment is, what do you want? What do you think? And what do you do? All of these things are dependent on and line up with each other to bring you your life, right? What do you want? Well, what are you thinking about? And what are you doing about it? If those 3 things are all lined up, then you have the perfect alignment assignment. If you are saying from one side of your mouth, I want this, and then on the other side of your mouth, you've got Oreos in it, right? This is precisely the thing. There's the conflict. And we're not living our true lives. We're not living our truth at all. We're speaking one thing and doing another thing entirely. And when that happens, no wonder you feel completely off and completely crazy, right? I know, that's how I do. But the thing is that when you start to just ask those 3 questions, what do I want? What do I think? And what do I do? And you look at those 3 things and you start looking for the places that they connect, you can start recognizing, this is the stuff that needs to go, and these are the things that need to come in. Because if I believe that my truest, healthiest self is on the other side of this Oreo, I've got another thing coming. If I believe that I need to step up and start taking great and absolutely scrupulous care of myself, then another thing starts to happen. The things that I think about are a little bit different. And the things that I do are absolutely 100% different. Because what I want is on the other side of discomfort, right? It's going to cost. It's always going to cost. And today, when I was doing all of those squats and split squats and all the rest of them, I was not loving my life. I wasn't like him, just thinking, I just want this over with. And it was before you knew it. But I did it. And being in that place of saying it's done is in the place, gets you to the place of saying, this is what I want because this is what I'm thinking and this is what I'm doing. They're all three in alignment. And when all three of those things are in alignment, boy, is your life going to go in the right direction. Boy, are you going to enjoy that. And boy, oh boy, your analysis is going to show you where the paralysis is. It is. It's just going to do that. So remember, to create your own motivation, you need the magic of momentum. You need the magic of momentum. And that means every single day, start looking at how can I plan my day in a way that is going to carry me, getting me to the things that I want. You know, I will tell you, it can be a little bit of it can be a little bit difficult. Sometimes it can be hard. There could be times when, you know, you're just thinking, but I'm so terrible at this. I'm not good at this or whatever. You get better as you go, right? It's not about how good you are at something. It's not. It's about the fact that you have the guts to go on the other side of discomfort and live your life anyway and do it anyway. Nobody is videotaping your life for you know, a documentary. You know, you can do a split squat and you could do all kinds of stuff and you can look real wobbly and terrible. Who cares? Who cares? The fact is that if you are taking care of yourself, you're doing these things that are going to move the needle in your life. And those three things are going to be in alignment every single time. Logic over emotion, 100% over emotion. Go ahead and feel it if you want to, but don't beat yourself up. We don't have time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. And the second thing too is keep your stuff together. What you think about, what you're focused on, and what you are doing are the things that are going to move the needle in your life. And if there's a conflict there, you're going to know it because not a whole lot's getting done regarding that goal. Okay? So take a peek at that. Don't allow yourself to fall into the trap of thinking, well, it's just not meant to be. It's just not for me, blah, blah, blah. Anything that you want is on the other side of discomfort. Anything. You got that? I want you to keep that in mind as you go through this week. It's only Monday. What can we do this week to stay focused on the thing that we want so that at the end of the week, we can feel really good about that? All right? I say that's a good way to get started this week. I appreciate you all showing up. Cheers. Here is to our wonderful Motivational Monday. I will see you tomorrow for Transformational Tip Tuesday. Peace be with you. Bye-bye. Thank you for joining me today. You can find me on TikTok for daily tips to help support your most vibrant life. And remember, you are the author of your own story. Until next time.